United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call from. Here. Kiel.
Here.
Broker.
Here.
Judy.
Here.
Hager.
Here.
Proctor.
Here.
6 present. Okay, approve the minutes of the October 22nd meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Actor, second by Gill, to approve the minutes of the October 22nd, 2024 City Council meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any public comment tonight? Anybody? No public comment?
Yeah, we heard that they were gonna talk about, ice carving, so they will, be on the, open practice on Main Street, and they start carving at 8, so we were hoping that we could start it sooner.
That's
Right
it.
now it starts at 10.
That's the next one.
That's the next agenda item.
Can you wait just a second? That's an agenda. I didn't know you were here for
I'm sorry.
that.
I do have no problem.
Okay?
So we're on the corner of 4th Street, Main Street,
Yep.
and every year we have a problem with parking tickets. We open at 5 a.m., parking ban goes off at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So every morning we're getting patrons and employees with parking tickets once the parking ban becomes active. So there's no snow. Obviously, our bartenders are gonna be there past midnight, past 2 a.m. even for that matter, because they're cleaning the bar and such. So they're probably gonna be there till 3 on the road. Normally, we try to keep them always on 4th Street, so there's no problems. But we wanna make sure that our bartenders and our cooks and our patrons aren't gonna get tickets this year. I know last year we had to go over to the chief of police again, for probably the 60th year in a row that we've been in business, to say, hey, we don't have anywhere to park. The church allows us to park across the street, but sometimes patrons aren't privy to that information, and they're ending up with tickets. So is there something we can do to make sure we're not getting parking tickets, especially when there's no snow?
Talk to the chief. That would be my advice. Again, I know it seems silly, but we're like every incorporated community in the state that has a winter parking enforcement. And I know in the past, it's been very reasonable and worked with you guys.
I just want to make sure like bartenders are calling, the county every night saying, I'm closing the bar at 2:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I have an hour of cleaning, so I'm not over here till 3:30, and then
I would suggest, if it were me in a role that you'd be talking to, that if you came in with some reasonable information such as, these are the bartenders and these are the vehicles, they should be out of here at a certain amount of time. I don't think it's your responsibility, it's my personal opinion, to have to babysit your patrons to follow the law. I mean, I understand as a business owner that
yeah,
it's
they
not
get a
good
parking
business.
ticket, I might never see them again.
Yeah, well, that's something you can post on the door too. I mean, I was up north, at an area that gets a lot of snow, and they had it right on there, don't park on the street, you're gonna get a parking ticket, right on the door. I mean, and it was on us if we got that, so. And people actually sometimes read those signs. Not always, but that's my advice. I mean, I'll see the chief in the morning, I'm sure, and I'll mention that you guys will stop in, but, because I remember you and I have dealt with this in the past, and we've always been able to work it out, I thought, so.
I just wanted to bring it up, so.
It's nothing on that is on the agenda, so they can't even
Yeah.
comment on it, but we heard you. I can, though. I'm not on the council, so.
Okay, thanks. All right, number 6, consideration to allow alcohol consumption on Fremont Street for the ice sculpting event, Saturday, February 1st, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is what we've always done in the past.
Yeah, and that was the request I got from the chamber. Specifically, I copied and pasted, so your comments are that you'd like to make it longer, lower the time in the morning?
They start carving at 8 o'clock, so instead of starting at 10 with the being like the time would be 8 o'clock. And then we're hoping that we can make it longer. Because a lot of people see people drinking on the street, then they go in and get a drink and don't realize it ends at 6.
For special events like this, I don't think there's any issue, but is there any kind of state regulation about how early
Yeah, they're set by their times based on the
6 a.m.
license at 6 AM but that wouldn't have any effect as far as alcohol on the streets. That would be up to us,
Okay.
so, or to you as the council to determine that. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any problems in the past that I'm aware of.
As far as we're asking if we could do 8 to midnight as on the street, and then at midnight cut her down and hit the red and everybody can go beyond. That would be.
I think we're early enough, this would be my suggestion, that we table this and get the chief's input from the police departments, and that maybe you guys reach out to him and mention that to him, and maybe come up, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable voting on this. We voted on it, I put it on the agenda because I got it right on the agenda to get it done, unknowing that you guys were looking for widening that time. That's a considerable time span there, and I think the chief, and all due fairness to him, would want some type of input on that.
Well, we put a, we still put a chamber too, and.
Yep.
I didn't know that, but
It's something normal that they do every year. I even had it as a reminder pop up. I've got it set for the December meeting, actually, to get it approved, like we get a reminder to do it for the parade every year, everything else. But you're talking a significant time period there. And the chief, I sent him this time period, and he gave his thumbs up to that, so I don't think it would be appropriate, in my opinion, to change those times without his input. And he may very well be fine with it, but I think as the chief of police in the community, and we probably want to weigh in, out of respect for his position. I know I would if I was in that role. I would want to know.
So we need a motion to table it?
I think that would be
That would be
the appropriate
appropriate.
response, yeah.
Who makes the motion to table?
Second.
Any other discussion? Motion by.
the outcome of the meeting with chief in the chamber.
Mhm. So we got a motion by Shooty, second by Broker to table number 6 to allow alcohol consumption on Fremont Street for the ice sculpturing event from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's tabled. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
So I will, again, I'll talk to the chief about the parking, and then also, so you're looking for 6 a.m. or 8 a.m.? 8 a.m.? 8 a.m. to midnight. Okay.
Okay, number 7, consideration of contract with Diener Assessments to serve as our city assessor for 2025 to 2029.
I provided the cover letter, and the assessor was at the committee of the whole to talk about improvements in his contract. Everybody had access to that if they wanted to review it. Have a good night, guys.
So there were no further changes from committee, this is still the exact same document?
Yep.
I'll make a motion, unless there's any further discussion, to approve the contract amendment, or excuse me, the contract with Diener Assessments to serve as our city assessor for the time period of 2025 to 2029 for the exhibit provided.
I'll second.
All right, any more discussion on this one? Motion by Broker, second by Shooty to approve the contract with Diener Assessments to serve as the city assessor for 2025 to 2029. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, consideration of a contract amendment for offer to purchase historic home on 227 Fremont Street from Fallon Financial LLC.
Now, this was a amendment requested by the buyer, the purchaser, to simply have the name changed from his name as an individual to his business name, Fallon Financial LLC. As you can see, I pulled up the contract amendment, which has that information listed. All other parts of the contracts where the name was involved were changed by Attorney Yon's office, and there was no other changes to the specifics of the original agreement that was approved on, correct?
Yeah, we had to change, there was several documents, there was a historic preservation document, because it was in a historic society area, and so we had to do that, and we had the warranty, or special warranty deed, I think that we had to do, and then there
Yep.
was some right of first refusals that we had
So those will all be re-signed tomorrow at closing, if this is approved tonight. The closing is tomorrow at 1 o'clock at the bank. With regards to the Historic Society, I did have contact with the agent that approved the sale, and he said there was no impact on changing the name, as long as the content of the preservation wasn't changing, and I told him there was not. So it's simply a changing of the name on the contract.
And I will make a motion to accept the amendment for the offer to purchase the historic house at 227 Fremont from the financial, from Fallon Financial LLC.
Okay, any other discussion on this one?
I think there was a lot to read through on that.
Wasn't it?
Excuse me?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but I thought I did see a section in there where they can't make any alterations to the outside appearance of the home without approval of the city first? Okay.
Yep, that's in the historic deed, the historic preservation content of it.
And it's something that State Historical Society wanted to
Yep.
come here, I think, before we had one meeting today with
Yep.
them.
Yep, they approved this as written, and that was the original. Again, you've already approved all of these documents. What's before you tonight is changing the name from the individual, and for tax reasons and for his banking purposes, he asked that we change it to his LLC.
Okay, any other questions? Motion by Gill, second by Actor, to approve the contract amendment for offer to purchase the historic house on 227 Fremont to Fallon Financial LLC. Roll call from?
Yes.
Gill?
Yes.
Broker?
Yes.
Shooty?
Yes.
Krieger?
Yes.
Actor? 6-0, motion carries. Item number 9, consideration of Police Chief Johnny's request to promote Officer Jeremy Camp to Captain of the Kiel Police Department effective January 1st, 2025. It was approved by unanimous vote on 10/30/24 by both the PFC and the PFB-HPC, the two committees that deal with the police department. One is a council committee and one is a separate committee.
Make a motion that we approve Chief Danny's request to promote Officer Camp to captain effective 1/1/25.
Second.
Any other discussion on this one? Motion by Frum, second by Krieger, to approve Police Chief Johnny's request to promote Officer Jeremy Camp to Captain of the Kiel Police Department, effective January 1st, 2025. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, consideration of Police Chief Johnny's request to assign Officer Michael Golbach as the new school resource officer for the police department.
This came about with Captain Camp's, soon-to-be Captain Camp's promotion. It freed up the school resource officer position. The chief is requesting that Officer Golbach be approved as the new school resource officer. Officer Golbach came from New Holstein PD, where he served as SRO, so there's definitely an advantage in that regard. And he is willing and able to do it, and he wants to do it, so.
Is this going to be effective January 1st also, or is that?
That's
going
my
to be
understanding.
several weeks?
There's gonna be some transition work between the two of them that the
Okay,
chief's
so
gonna handle,
that
but it would be effective on the same day.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll make a motion that, we assign Officer Michael Goldbach as the school resource officer for the Kiel Police Department effective 1/1/25.
Any other discussion on this? A motion by Shooty, second by Broker, to approve the request to assign Officer Michael Golbach as the new school resource officer for the police department effective 1/1/25. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, or 11, sorry. Consideration of request by EMS Chief Isley to pay additional compensation of $2,030 to Assistant EMS Chief Paul Trebald for his extra work services performed during EMS Chief Isley's medical leave of absence.
That's what EMS Chief Isley spoke of at the committee of the whole last week. Assistant Chief Thibault did an extraordinary job during Chief Isley's medical leave, and looking to compensate him.
Motion approved. Seconded.
other discussion? Motion by Broker, second by Gill, to approve the request by EMS Chief Isley to pay additional compensation of $2,030 to Assistant EMS Chief Paul Thibault for his extra work services performed during EMS Chief Isley's medical leave of absence. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And
Number,
that comes from their budget, right?
yes.
That's correct.
Ambulance budget.
Yeah.
Consideration of offer to purchase by MF Housing for vacant land parcel 051-028-010-001.00 located on the east side of Cemetery Road and south side of East Industrial Park Street from the city of Kiel.
This is an overview of the parcel that we're referring to, so the remaining 11.59 acres would still be owned and available by the city for development. We've been talking about this for several meetings, and we have a offer to purchase that was drafted by our city attorney and has been approved by MF Housing.
Just a point, should we be approving the rezoning request before we approve that?
It's immediately after it. It's up to you if you want to do point of order. There are pros and cons either way.
I think we're okay,
Okay.
as long as you approve them both.
I mean, the buyer hasn't signed the offer to purchase
Yeah.
yet.
So-
He originally drafted it, and there were some changes. I contacted the mayor and Administrator Funkhauser about some of those changes, and then he emailed me indicating that the one that is in council's packet and he was okay with.
Did they give an approximate schedule of beginning of construction and projected end of construction?
They talked about starting it, so they have to go through the WIDA loan process, which is what's the expedition of this. Because we talked in length with the attorney about a developer's agreement, and that's going to be forthcoming. But he needs to show some actual legal ownership of the property to be able to file for the grants that will help him do the development. It does not lock us in because of the conditions and the addendums that we have in the offer to purchase. Gives us, I mean, there has to be a developer's agreement. But he was estimating initial start of probably, was there 18 months from the date of
18
the
months from the start of
agreement?
construction, so.
That we would have development occurring, so.
So it wouldn't even be close to completion then in 2026?
Close.
Could be, it could be.
2026 could be close.
He's being very conservative on his timelines, and also that was the change for the assessed valuation too. So he wanted to be conservative on that. So I told him I would most notably and probably be asked why the change in the initial evaluation. And as the mayor pointed out during our conversation, he wants to underestimate and overperform. So that's why he lowered the valuation down.
But it could be late 2026.
It could be.
And that's understandable to give the assessor actually something to assess.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
that's just a projection at this point and without any, hard
Correct.
property building to assess. I mean, I guess that's fair to begin with.
Yeah, they can only, by law, assess the property as what it was on January 1st, which was
Yeah.
vacant land.
Oh, I had one other question. I think it was like line item 155.
On
this
the
isn't-
offer?
This isn't full yet.
Okay.
This isn't fully filled out yet. Should we expect that what the intent and purpose for this is actually gets injected in that for final signature? Or maybe I guessed the number wrong.
In terms of what, sir? I guess I don't follow what you mean, the intended.
There's a section in there about what the intent and purpose for the land use as purchase will be. There it is.
Proposed use contingencies? Yep, right here.
So that needs to be put in there yet, correct?
I thought we covered in the addendum, but if not, we can certainly add that in there.
Okay, so the addendum goes.
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
To construct on the property no later than 18 months after the date of closing, 45 cottage-style multi-housing family units.
So it's in the addendum.
So it's in the addendum.
18 months is from date of close to start of construction?
Correct, I believe. Yep. that included in your motion, sir?
Yes, please.
Yep.
I'll second, but I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
So when we do a developer's agreement, that's a two-sided document. So it's, you're gonna construct this and we're gonna put value in at that point in the developer's agreement, or we get the land back? I mean, so many developers agreements have incentives in them.
They get pretty detailed.
Yeah.
Well, the addendum, one part of the idea was to try to put some details in the, offer to purchase, so when we get to the development agreement, we're not starting from scratch. The, buyer was concerned about doing a development agreement before. In many cases, we've always done, or not at all, but many times we've done a development agreement attached it to the offer to purchase, so then there's no question what that development agreement is gonna say, because we've attached it as an exhibit to the offer to purchase. In this case, mainly because of timing, the buyers indicated that they want this, I think, was it December 1 or?
December 4th, we
December
have to
4th
file the grants.
deadline, was concerned about getting an offer or development agreement done at that time. So this is the route we went, tried to put some details into the addendum agreement, but it's not a development agreement. So yeah, we have to do that, but there's the assessed values in there, the 45 units is in there, the 18 months from there. Originally, I had done it where the city would get the property back, not having to pay for it. I've had a lot of people balk at that though, and this is another buyer that's waiting, if I pay for this, I'm not just gonna give it back to the city for free. So ultimately, the buyer said the only way I would do it, or the way I wanna do it, was gonna be for him to, or the city to get it back, but then the city's gotta pay the purchase price back to the buyer to get it back. So,
We hold it in a trust
Yeah.
until the development starts. And the main thing is at the very beginning, it indicates that the vacant land offer to purchase any accepted by the city of Kiel is contingent on MF Housing Partners in the city signing at the time of closing or before a development agreement acceptable to both parties. So that's an overall covering, that covers everybody's bases. It allows us, and as Gary noted, as the attorney noted, he put some of the key points in there, so it's made clear. So if we can't come to a developer's agreement, this isn't gonna happen. But this is enough for him to start the funding process for the federal and state grants that he's trying to go for.
I don't know if that answers your question. But, yeah, the development agreement would go into very specifics on what's gonna happen and how it's gonna work, so.
The reverse is that he's gotta sell it back to the same as he bought it.
Yeah.
Our end of the bargain is nothing more than selling the
Correct.
vacant lot
Right.
as is, he does everything for me.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's no cost involved.
Correct. We were insistent on that.
and that was part of the reason too that we bought, I think, in St. Why, because some development agreements, as the council's probably aware of, we give some kind of incentive, and really some, what incentive are we even giving, because we from the owner person farm, really it's buying this for the price that we get.
One of the discussions we had made it clear that the city is giving some concessions by changing our plans for that, rezoning our property. And so he is getting some value out of that, and our willingness to work in partnership, on a public-private partnership, to bring some development to the city.
Well, and the price.
And the price, yeah, absolutely.
So what about, excuse me, like sewer, water, all of that? Are we still liable to put that main down the road, but then he picks up the cost from there?
No, we supply the water to his building and that's it.
Okay,
Right.
okay, because I mean, we would have to,
We would have to-
anyway, when we put the stuff up to the DPW and the electric. on
Correct,
the
that would be
other
on the
side.
north side, but everything that he's gonna do is, he's gonna be responsible.
He's responsible for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anything buried under East Industrial Drive right now?
Not that we know of.
In
According to-
farmland.
I
according to-
didn't know about that road.
Oh, under the road, well, yeah, there's
Yeah.
utilities there.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the mains are there.
Yeah, the mains, the water
Yeah,
and the
we've
sewer,
got-
the water and the
all
sewer
they have to do
is
is-
on the street.
Yeah,
So I posed a question in email yesterday, and I'll just say what I, because I seconded it, right? I'm not taking this back, but I wanted to know what it would cost, or if there was some kind of decision thought through about 6 acres and, what that would look like if you made 10 residential lots there, right? If we think about what you would get out of 10 residential lots,
that's what,
or
that's what Chris gave me as a number.
developing, what you would have to put some sort of, I understand you'd have to put a short street in there, you'd have to run utilities to that, under that street, right, not just the main off of East Industrial, you have to light the streets, I mean, all that costs, runs a lot of money.
Yeah,
As long as there was something, that was my question,
it was discussed.
make sure we have an idea of that cost.
We could certainly look at that and not go this route, and we could bring
I
that
already
up.
seconded, because
I know you did, but I'm telling you what I responded to you in your questions, we could certainly go that route, but then we have a developer willing to work on something in our city, and if we decide to go a different route, then we have to really do a deeper dive into that and then start advertising it as that. We're gonna rezone it, or, you know, there's pros and cons to
This,
both.
and this will kick off development there too, you know.
We hope.
Right, and much like we did when we, went in on Nash Estates, or whatever it was called at the time, where the city actually bought it first, and then sold the lot, or sold the land, or sold the lots one by one. However that went, that's a public-private partnership, and I'm more in that, in favor of that kind of stuff, for residential anyway.
Yeah.
We've developed
That was a little-
areas, and we've not necessarily, succeeded that well.
That was a little easier because it was a TID also.
Yeah,
Right.
This would not be a TID, so we'd be footing the bill for the whole development, the sewer and water and streets and everything, so that would be considerable expenditure.
and since we've had discussions on it in other previous meetings, I've had people reach out and positively comment on that it's specifically targeted for 55 and older, cottage-style apartment, or cottage-style housing units, not apartments, but actual ownership in those things, or, you know, more of a house-type feel. So I'm hopeful that they're gonna see similar success that they've done in other communities, like the ones I showed you photos of, where other developers have come in and done other developments, and we've got another 12 acres off of it to potentially see additional growth as well, so. But it's your call if you wanna revise and look at it in a different route.
Okay. Any other discussion? You do have a motion and a second. Motion by Broker, second by Fromm, to approve the offer to purchase by MF Housing for vacant land parcel 051-028-010-001.00, located on the east side of Kemp Cemetery Road, south side of East Industrial Park Street, from the city of Kiel. Roll call. Fromm? Gill?
Yes.
Broker?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Krieger?
Yes.
Actor?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Okay, number 13, consideration of rezoning request by MF Housing to rezone 17.73 acres of City of Kiel owned property listed as parcel, same parcel, located on east side of the Cemetery Road and south side of East Industrial Park Street from I-2 to R3, with approval by the Planning Commission.
Why the whole 17.73 acres?
We looked at it, the Plan Commission looked at it, and if we just did that parcel section, it would probably bring up concerns of spot zoning.
Okay, now to Alderman Fromm's question from the last agenda item, would that handcuff us then, or prevent us from putting single-family residential on there?
If we're R3?
Still acceptable under
Mhm.
R3?
Yep,
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
R3 can be apartment buildings all the way down to single.
multifamily, single-family, and
It could be
duplexes.
anything, any residential.
Yeah,
Good.
yep, and that's the concept that we took. Instead of, when we looked at it, we're like, well, if we bring it up on the zoning map, you would have this little yellow thing surrounded by red with the Conservancy across the street, rather than doing the whole parcel. It would look similar to, and I can bring up the zoning map too, if it's easier on the screen. It would look similar to the end of Baylitz, where we have R3 at the end of Baylitz Drive, next to Conservancy or Park, and then industrial as well. So, and it would also allow for future development in that adjoining parcel. That was the thought process. You want me to bring up the zoning map, or everybody understand that?
We have the same, approximately the same 17, 18 acres on the north side of industrial drive.
I think it's a little bit larger.
It's a little more.
I think it's a little more,
And how much,
from what Chris said.
we have just, I know it's past the agenda item, but in the same area,
that's what Chris told, the mayor and I had that same question, and that's what Chris said his intent was. So if we were to just do this spot, or this area, oops, my little cursor's not working here. But if we were just to do that front section, that would just be, yellow. It would be surrounded by all of this. And by allowing this whole parcel to come in, then you'd have the Conservancy with the church across the street. And then we wouldn't have to do it again if another developer came in and wanted to use it for the same purpose.
What do you think of like that housing, is there any put more houses up?
They're not promising that, but I believe it's been done in other communities. But like I told you, when we were up on a weekend trip up in Door County, I went and looked at the ones that developed in Sister Bay. And they have other units, other developments around them that have already gone up, and there's one in construction across the street. So it's a very visible spot going in or out of the city limits. People are going to see it. And like I said, there's a buzz already. We're talking about it Riverview, so it's got to be. It's got to be true.
Their original development is for other development in that area
Correct.
also.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's very much needed to have some additional senior housing, and it's 55 and up, or 50?
That's the intended market.
Yeah, and so, and with it being involved with WIDA, the cost to the owner or the tenant, however it goes, is more locked in.
Mm-hmm.
So that, as soon as it turns over or whatever, it can't skyrocket. It allows people to stay in their home longer, which is a really, really good thing, on multiple levels. But, by it being an older, more sedate, I guess, community, I don't have as much problem with it being across from the city property where big trucks are gonna be running. It's not like we're gonna have little tiny kids, hopefully, or maybe grandkids, chasing their ball out into the street in front of a truck or something like that. It's a little bit less likely to happen than perhaps even out here on King Street.
Well, and if you look at the way they've designed it, these are the driveways, so the homes aren't even going to be directly facing any of that. So
Yeah.
and that was discussions we had, as well as noise, what the noise is going to look like, and what, from the development down the road.
And it's some foliage between the
Yep.
road
Berms.
and the industrial.
Agreed. There's a reason they came to Kiel. I mean, they targeted us as being a rich environment for this, and the sustained growth and the developments that have occurred in the city, and they believe that the market is calling for this to be a ripe spot for them to do something like this. So
There is a very much shortage in this community for this type of housing.
yep.
Okay, so what's your pleasure on the zoning?
Can I make a motion that, to approve the rezoning request by NF Housing to rezone the 17.73 acres owned by the city of Kiel, parcel as mentioned, on the east side of Cemetery Road and south of East Industrial Park Street, from I-2 to R3.
Second.
Any other discussion? Motion by Frum, second by Broker, to approve the rezoning request by MF Housing to rezone 17.73 acres of the city of Kiel owned property listed as parcel located on east side of Cemetery Road and south side of East Industrial Park Park Street from I-2 to R3. Roll call from Gill,
Yes.
Broker,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. All right, number 14, consideration of request by property owner Five Star Investments to split properties located at 1148 6th Street and 531 Park Avenue into two separate parcels.
Stacy is here, the property owner, and I think She did a wonderful job providing us with a lot of information, which is included in your packet on what she was doing or looking to do. She's here tonight to answer any questions you might have, but it was reviewed by the General Manager of Utilities, Chris, and our building inspector. It was also approved by the Plan Commission to split the parcels as shown in the attached documents. Stacy, you want to explain why we're doing this? It might be helpful for them to understand. And I don't mean that other than it might be helpful if you show it from an owner's point of view.
Yeah, so I have the property for sale, there's a two-family house on the property, and then where my shop is, that's a spot, and then there's also another shed that's like 30 by 40. And the problem I'm running into is people, they either wanna buy the shop, or they wanna buy the house. And if they do wanna buy the whole thing, they want me, as a business owner, to sign like a 5-year lease, and I don't wanna sign a 5-year lease. To me, that's kind of excessive, so, I know the property was for sale for 4 years before I bought it. I stuck a considerable amount of money and labor into the house, the shop, the yard, everything. I would just like to sell, I guess my intentions are to get it separated, and then I wanna sell the house off, and then I would keep the shop and the shed unit myself. And maybe sell that down the road, but, anything makes sense.
So she provided an initial very thorough packet with parcel lines, which you can see up here, and then we instructed her to get an actual survey. This is a nice shot of what it would look like in finished, but then they did get a professional survey done by Meridian. Everything lines up. Chris gave the blessing of the utilities, building inspector gave the blessing on everything else.
So this is just a general question, probably would be building code, or towards the building code, not towards this idea, I think it's fine. Do we have to, when that's looked at, are the setbacks of the house and the shop, do they come into play? Cause we basically going with a 0 lot line now, or bigger, right? So to speak?
No, it's not zero.
It's not zero,
Not
but
zero,
it's,
but it's,
There's like, so the shop and the house, there's like a breezeway that goes in between.
that's gonna be
So I'm
removed.
gonna have, I hired somebody, if the law gets approved, whatever, to remove that part of the breezeway, and then they'll have to put a wall in, so, for the house area, and, so that there's actually gonna be a physical separation taking place. And I think it's 9 feet, 6 inches, and then it's divided, there's like a sidewalk that goes behind the whole shop and that whole shed, so I made the lot line go on that sidewalk, so that the shop owns the sidewalk. And then it just kinda naturally goes right straight down the property there. So there will be like 4 feet, I guess I don't remember, like 4 feet,
True.
on each side.
Yeah, I think, I
Oh,
remember
right.
doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's like 4 feet 2 inches or something.
4 feet 7 on both sides.
4 feet 7.
What would be the
It was just under 5 feet
Yeah,
8
on each
feet
side.
from the lot line.
4, 7.
But, this is a special circumstance too.
Is there any zoning issue here?
Not that we understood. I
No.
asked the building inspector and he gave its blessing because of the unique nature of the setup, from what I understand.
Do you have I don't even know what we call this.
What is it, zoning?
What's the zoning, non-industrial,
It's,
commercial?
it's B2.
So you'll have a commercial,
The entire spot is B2, so if you look on the zoning map, which I'll swing over that, it's under B2, which allows for, and this was, Stacy and I had this discussion just the other day. So it's that parcel in the light blue right here, okay? That under our zoning code allows for multiple residential R3 and R2. So we do not have to rezone even the residential.
And it allows business.
It allows business and R2 and R3. So when Stacy and I talked about it, she was like, well, do I need to rezone that single lot and make it R1? Well, then we'd have to go through this whole process to change that. But it does allow all uses that are permitted in R3, and it's a duplex, so at minimum, it would be,
R2.
it'd be R2 anyways, so then it would be a single parcel of R2 surrounded by R1 and commercial, and we'd be at a spot zoning, but then, as you can see here, the commercial service district, it allows for R3, which covers anything residential, so we can leave the zoning as is.
I would like to, make a motion that we approve, five-star investment to split properties located at 1148 Sixth Street and 531 Park Avenue into two separate parcels as presented by the planning commission.
Second it.
Okay, any more discussion on this one? Motion by Shooty, second by Broker to approve the request by property owner of Five Star Investments to split properties located at 1148 Sixth Street and 531 Park Avenue into two separate parcels. Roll call, got Crum,
Yes.
Broker,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Acton.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Is that zoning question already answered in the packet information you gave us, or
I
was just anticipating the question?
was anticipating your question.
Good question.
I'm getting better at
I
this.
feel bad for wasting your time.
No, you didn't, no, you didn't, no, you didn't, but interestingly, I was,
It came up in the
it came up in
planning,
plan, we
planning
discussed it.
commission too. Yeah,
I-
it came up.
I had an answer at the planning commission, but I wanted to confirm it, and I did during the meeting. We pulled it up and we all reviewed it. And then Stacy called me and we went through it yesterday. I think we did yesterday, so we were ready for you. A good question though, because otherwise we'd have to go back and rezone the property.
All right, 15, consideration of property owner's request to combine vacant parcel of land identified as parcel number 051-029-005-004.00 with a budding property located at 378 Rockville Road.
This is the Presner property. Dennis is here as a property owner. This is an overview of his existing home. He currently owns both parcels. One is a vacant parcel of land, and he is looking to combine those into a single property as shown in the certified survey map. Yeah.
So I know probably about 2 months ago, the city approved the ability to put another garage on certain parcels, property. But already I'm at 1,200 square feet with my existing garage.
Sure.
But I cannot put a garage on that extra parcel because it's a standalone parcel, and there has to be a house on there with that garage.
Right.
So when the change that you could put up to 600 square foot extra garage on the larger parcels, I talked to Mr. Bunkhauser, and he said, that's great, but you can't have a house, you have to have a house on it. I'm like, okay, now what can I do? You know,
Yeah.
combine the parcels into one, so it isn't a whole of 3 acres. And then I would put a garage on that extra parcel. It was all one parcel.
Correct. Our zoning code doesn't allow in an R1 to put a garage or accessory building on vacant land unless it is immediately adjacent to or included with a residential home. So as a standalone vacant lot, he couldn't do that. But by combining his parcel, then he would fall under the ordinance that was amended to include the garage sale or the garage addition as an accessory structure on the larger lot.
I'll make a motion to approve the request to combine the vacant parcel of land identified as the parcel so named with a budding property located at 378 Rockville Road.
Second.
Any other discussion? Motion by Broker, second by Krieger to approve the property owner's request to combine vacant parcel of land identified as parcel with a budding property located at 378 Rockville Road. Roll call from
Yes.
Broker,
Yes.
Shooty,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Acton.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries. Consideration of property owner's request to combine abutting lots number 12 and number 13 on Trillium Court in Kiel and Meadows into a single parcel.
So here's the overview Trillium Court, these are the two lots at the end. It's the Brandt, is the owner. I don't have the first name, I apologize. The CSM certified surveyor sent me the information, but she is looking to combine this lot, which is lot 12 and lot 13 into a single lot. The only thing that came up causing a problem was the easement, but as included in the documents which were presented to you in the packet and already presented to the Plan Commission and approved by them, was the easement agreement from WPS. So currently there are two vacant lots identified as lot 12 and 13 in the Kiel Meadows
It's the
subdivision.
same deal, pretty much the intent of the request to add additional building structure.
No,
No.
my understanding is it's just the unique nature and design and the way the lots line out.
The lots are
That
kind
they're
of
very unusually,
triangular and,
and her intent, from what I understand from the surveyor, is to put it right in between the two of them. So like in this area, if I understand correctly, it would be somewhere in this area. Is to build a home right in there. But no, that was never brought up in the discussions that I had. So, and in the
In that, Keelan Meadows, I realize that's a completely private thing, but, is there any restrictions on owning double lots? Or anything with that?
from the covenants, no, not my
No
understanding.
kind of covenants?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, do you-
We wouldn't have anything to do in terms of the covenants anyways. And
I'm sorry, I just thought of a question. Since the pond, the drainage pond, is partially on lot 11 and partially on lot 12, obviously the owner of lot 12 would have to take care of that side, and part of lot 11 would have to take care of their side. But would there be any issues within the water itself? I mean, I don't know, are they gonna
Those-
throw koi in there and make it a koi pond, or?
well, it's gonna be one lot now.
No, but this
No.
pond is between two.
Yeah.
The pond is split between two of the lots.
Between 11 and 12.
Yeah, right through the middle of it.
Oh, yeah, that's.
But that's the way it was designed when
yeah,
the
that's the way
subdivision
it
was built
designed originally.
and laid out, so I don't have an answer to your question if they're gonna let geese in there or
Yes, we need that.
salmon or whatever they want.
Salmon would be nice, I'd take salmon if you can have public access.
Yeah, I believe that there's some type of restrictions that are probably in play,
Okay.
but that's a question I'm not prepared to answer at this time.
Okay,
You stumped me, but I can look into it, so.
Ooh, that's first. And I'm betting DNR has some rules and or regulations. on
Absolutely,
that.
yeah, it's a stormwater pond.
Yeah, those
Tended to be
ponds
a-
are normally sized with the
Correct.
development, the whole development in mind, so I don't think that's gonna change anything.
What is that?
Special flood hazard area, zone A?
Yeah.
I think that's part of the zone for it. I don't think that's the bank. The bank is already
No,
down
that's
here.
part of the.
This is the pond, but this is the zone, the flood zone, so they're,
That'd be the floodplain.
you're talking this mark here, the
Yeah.
no, that's just the zone, the flood zone. The bank itself is, as you can see by this picture. Yeah, that's where the pond is. And this is where the actual main body of the river, but you can see by this area, it's gotten as far in.
So 11 and 12,
Are right about in here,
12 and 13.
12 and 13. 11 is down here, it cuts through and goes
And
around this way.
that's owned, I think, is
It's
that
already-
not?
yeah.
The buildings there?
And then 12 goes this way through the middle, up and then down, and then 13 kind of comes and cuts over like this. It's a different lot layout. So the original parcel would be from this point, and it goes down along this dotted line there. Apologies, I'm making it bigger. This dotted line where my cursor is where the lot 13 was, as I understand it.
And that didn't say anything.
It's an unusual shaped lot, for sure. Both of them are.
Basically, we're just trying to straighten out
Correct.
and make it somewhat
Yeah.
appealing, yes,
Looks kind of like Pennsylvania a little bit.
instead of those little triangles and.
Right.
I applaud them for that, and I make the motion that we approve the owner's request to combine abutting lots 12 and 13 on Trillium Court and Kiel Meadows into a single parcel.
Second? Any other discussion? Motion by Shudi, second by Broker to approve the property owner's request to combine abutting lots number 12 and number 13 on Trillium Court and Keelan Meadows into a single parcel. From Broker, Shudi,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Actor. Motion carries 5-0. Number 17, consideration of operator's license for Malik Bryant.
Yeah, the chief submitted a memo recommending denial.
Make a motion to deny the, application for the liquor license, from Malik Bryan.
Second.
Motion by Broker, second by From, to deny the operator's license for Malik Bryant. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 18,
Sorry, who was the second? I heard Bill second, but it was Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Okay,
I think he got in a hair earlier.
gotcha. Okay, thank you, sir. Apologies.
Need parking minutes.
19, consideration of donation to the Kiel Community Center, the amount of,
Nope, nope,
18, sir.
oh, I missed one, huh?
Joint
Okay,
powers.
consideration of 2025 joint powers agreement between Manawha County, the Joint Dispatch Center, and the City of Kiel. It's our annual,
Annual
Approval.
agreement for dispatching services and their ability to provide enhanced 911 system.
Motion approved.
second.
motion by Broker, second by Shudi, to approve the 2025 joint powers agreement between Manawha County, the Joint Dispatch Center, and the City of Kiel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 19, this is a good one. Consideration of a donation to the Kiel Community Center in the amount of $215,645.04 from the estate of Herman Luce. Herman was a longtime city employee and loved the community center, loved going down there, and he passed away, I don't know, a year ago or so, and decided to donate this large sum of money to the community center, which is much appreciated.
It's an amazing blessing, and it's going to be able to provide for the community centers
We did,
maintenance and upkeep for years.
we did have a fund that was a Dworsky Fund, that was in that same neighborhood of a donation years ago, and that fund has been slowly spent down with repairs and maintenance and flooring and whatever at the community center, so that fund has been relinquished. Now we have got another nice fund to carry on the community center. So, very nice.
Make the motion to accept this gentleman's more than generous donation for the Kiel Community Center.
Second.
We were gonna do something,
We'll make
put
a
a name
memorial.
on it, and then already,
Yeah,
We'll
they've already-
do a plaque or something. yeah.
Talking to Missy about creating a plaque, we're gonna try and get a nice picture and have it right at the entrance.
very good.
Okay, we've got a motion by Krieger, second by Actor, to approve the donation, to accept the donation to the Kiel Community Center in the amount of $215,645.04 from the estate of Herman Lewis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And 20, approve receipts and disbursements.
Second.
Motion by From, second by Krieger, to approve receipts and disbursements. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve bills.
Motion to pay all bills.
Second.
Motion by From, second by Krieger, to pay all bills. Roll call from Broker. Shudi,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Shudi, to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. Nice, agenda tonight. A lot of things going on in Kiel.
These are rechargeable batteries.
Well, they
at least
are?
were in mine.
This mine kept going off.